Bump and Run with Bernie and Dahlby. Presented by Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Now, here's Brett Bernheisel and Steve Dahlby.
All right. Well, getting a little exotic this week. This is show 13. So we have a dozen eggs.
Look at you.
With another egg. So this is called the Baker's Dozen.
Yeah.
I almost thought about
doesn't look right.
buying a Kurt Warner jersey, but I decided not to. And so before we get started with this beautiful program, Dahlby, what's with the hat? I mean, your wife went to U of A.
Uh-huh.
You know that I'm anti U of A, and now are you doing this for me, or are you doing this for something else?
No, we live in a house divided. My younger son Matthew is at ASU, so we've learned to, I guess, like ASU a little bit more since he's there. And I think last week my wife even had some ASU stuff on when we were at the football game. So no, it was just great to see. That was a good win for them. Obviously, U of A's got some problems with their football program. It's going to take a while, and so it's fun to see the Sun Devils playing well, and I was so happy that they beat UCLA. I've had two golfers recently go to UCLA, and it didn't work out for both of them. So I was cheering for the Sun Devils hard to beat up on the Bruins.
All right. Well, you know what? I mean, it's taken us, I don't know, 3.5 years, 4 years, whatever it's been, for you to finally get on board, and that's a cool thing. Before we talk about the Sanderson Farm Tournament, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the world of golf outside of just playing. I got a chance to, and I did it. I streamed it. I watched Bryson in the long drive that happened this weekend in Mesquite. And I had the opportunity one time in my life, I don't know, probably 20 years ago, maybe longer, to go watch the world longest drive in Vegas when it was held in Vegas. And it was an interesting but very boring thing for me to watch. And we sat in bleachers that, like if you went to a Little League baseball game, the bleachers were about that size. You held like, I don't know, 25 people. And it bored me to death. But I actually watched this thing, and it was streamed live on YouTube by, I don't know, some guy that won the tournament or the championship in like 2005 and some other guy. And all they cared about was how many viewers they had. Oh, we're up to 28,000 viewers, 30,000 viewers, 35,000 viewers. And Bryson he did very well. He made it farther than I thought he would, but it's a weird situation to how they do this. And I don't know if you got to watch it or not, but if not, I'll just explain it to you. So they would do it's called rapid rounds. And we're four guys. And remember, the sun's beating down on them, because this is like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So four guys would hit, one guy in pod 1, 2, 3, and 4, and whoever won that pod would get this amount of points. I think it was 200. Second was 100. Third was 50. And fourth was 25 if you got it on the grid. If you didn't get on the grid, you got no points. But it was weird because guys were hitting these drives and like running like 10 feet and amping up the crowd while the other guy's trying to hit a ball, and you got shadows coming left and right. It was a very interesting thing to watch, but I'll give DeChambeau kudos for making it to the quarterfinals or whatever, because he was hitting balls, 394, 396, 402. And then you got these clowns that are hitting it like 430. It was fascinating to watch.
No, and it is. And I actually did watch. I was on social media and it popped up, and in years past, this has been covered by the Golf Channel, and maybe for reasons where the Golf Channel didn't have sponsors for them, or maybe they just didn't feel like it was something that a lot of people would watch. All of a sudden, it was kind of cool that they did the YouTube feed, and I think they were over 40,000 viewers when I was on there, and it was two of the guys that had been with Long Drive for a long time, and you could tell how appreciative they were that Bryson was doing this, because I think for them to have this 40 or 50,000 people watching was justification that maybe next year Golf Channel picks it up, or ESPN picks it up. Somebody picks it up, which is a big deal for the traveling show that is long driving. And so I thought it was great, and Bryson did very well. And it was interesting how, to me, he amped his ball speed up so much from, we think he hits it hard and it goes when he's playing in a tournament. I think ball speed he had up to, what was it, 218 miles an hour, which was like, I don't know, 30 miles an hour more than if he was playing in a tour event. He had the advantage, I think, that the guys knew that he could hit it in the grid. But he also, I think, surprised the guys that he was able to create some of the power that Kyle Berkshire can create. And I've seen those two with Chris Como in Dallas working in there. Chris Como has this house, and he's got a hitting area in his living room, and I've seen them both in there where they're working on speed and how to get speed and how to use the ground and how to jump. And when you look at these golf swings, they're not golf swings it's not like watching Adam Scott swing a golf club. It's violent, it's fast, but it was fun. It really was. And I thought Bryson did a great job.
Well, there was one point late in the qualifying stage, you get to the top 8 where DeChambeau is in grid 3, and there's a guy in grid 4 that's swinging so hard he rips his fucking groin out and goes to the ground. And Bryson doesn't see that. Bryson doesn't know what to do because the guy's sitting next to him, and he's looking over like freaked out because the guy's like screaming and yelling because he ripped his groin. But yet it's all on you only have 2.5 minutes to hit these 6 balls. And Bryson looked at him and like, I don't know what to do now. When normally you'd be like, oh my, let's help this guy. And then Bryson continues to hit while this guy's on the ground. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know the rules to long driving, but maybe they could have stopped the clock for just maybe 1 second and maybe help this guy, because all of a sudden you see this guy's wife coming and then some other family member and then a trainer or something like that. It was a really it was a strange deal. But once Bryson got eliminated, you watch the 43 or 44,000 viewers they had, all of a sudden, and they were off. But I mean, some of them still stayed on. Other big news this week, Dahlby, before we get to the golf.
Changes.
Jimmy Johnson and Justin Thomas are done. I've heard from people that I've talked to, excuse me, that Jimmy's he's old enough now. He's made enough money that he is going off to retirement. And then Bubba Watson and Ted Scott broke up this week as well, which is 2 big caddying teams that we've seen for years now. Ted Scott, apparently from what I've heard, has been out there for so long. When he came out and caddy for Azinger 20-something years ago, it was only going to be for a few weeks, and I think that he's made enough money now that he can blast off into the sunset and lay on the beach. So, but pretty big news now that Jim Bones Mackay is now coming out of retirement from TV. He's still going to do TV when he's not working for Justin Thomas, which will probably be the smaller events, but he's now his full-time caddy, which, I can't blame Bones. I don't know what Golf Channel's paying him, but I can tell you that I can estimate that if you're working for Justin Thomas, you're making anywhere between $2 and $4 million a year caddying for him.
Oh, well, then that's good work. He makes that much money?
Well, I don't know. You get 10%. What does Justin Thomas make? I mean,
I don't think he gets 10%. I don't think 10%'s the norm. I think you always go 10%. I think the norm, and it's still a lot of a big number, but I think it's more 8%, maybe 10% on a win. But I don't think it's just a straight 10%. And I guess maybe we could ask Judd on that, and maybe you have. But I've heard a lot of different things. And then, there's also the guys that maybe just have a set fee. Now, I'm not saying that Thomas will do that with Bones, but I think there's different ways. These guys, they make a lot of money, but I find it hard to believe that it's $4 million that Jimmy Johnson made last year.
Okay, so you won the Tour Championship.
How much did Dustin Johnson win in earnings?
Dustin Johnson?
I'm sorry,
you
Justin
win 15.
Thomas.
Yeah, you win
Justin
$15 million for you win $15 million for winning the FedEx Cup. It's 10%. That's 1.5. And now let's just start there.
But is it? And again, do you know that they're giving a straight 10% of their FedEx money for sure?
Well, I'm sure. No, I'm not 100%, but I'm 90% for sure.
Because that's not all cash. That's money that's put away. So I don't know how they're writing checks for that.
Well, so I remember a few years ago when Rory McIlroy won the FedEx Championship, and he sent his caddy, and I forget his name back then, and the caddy went on Twitter and said a tsunami just hit my bank account of $1.5 million. Because these guys can, as you know, these guys can write it off. So, I mean, you might as well, as we talked about a few weeks ago, just on some weird thing with Michael Allen giving his caddy a $100,000 bonus, these guys just give it to him, and then they can write it off. I mean, you might as well give it to your person that works for you instead of giving it to the stupid government. I mean, so I think it is 10%, but I'll find out more for sure. But I get. So let's just take for example. I mean, and I don't
Tiger Woods gave Steve Williams. It was a set fee. Now this is in 2000, 2001, whatever, but it was $1 million. That was his fee. That was what he got for the year.
And he didn't get anything else on top of the wins?
He might have got a bonus, but Tiger isn't notoriously the most generous person in the world. But I just wonder. I wonder. And it's not, and I'm not saying that it's, it could be, you could be right. I don't know. I feel like that's a lot.
Dahlby, Justin Thomas made $6.53 million in 2020 on tour.
Okay. So what's 8% of that?
No, I didn't have that.
No, 8. It's 10. He's not an 8% guy. Plus bonuses, no, and everything. I mean, whatever. I mean, you could be right. I mean, I just know that.
So 6 million? What's 10%?
650,000.
Okay, and then you give him a bonus. So I don't know how you're getting $4 million. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay, maybe 4 million. So maybe I shot the moon on 4 million.
I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Jimmy Johnson's making $4 million every year.
Maybe like I said, maybe he's going to definitely make more money than he's making at the Golf Channel. That's for sure. So Sam Burns today at Sanderson Farms, and you know what? And this struck me, and I follow the game as close as a lot of people. When he won today at Sanderson Farms, I was thinking it was his third or fourth win on tour. It's his second, and it shocked me. And here's a guy that I think is a very complete player. And granted, it wasn't the greatest field in Jackson, Mississippi. It wasn't definitely not like the field next week in Vegas, where it's the greatest field I've ever seen for that tournament at the Shriners. Mm-hmm. But this guy can flat out play, and he's still so young. And we talked about last week on going forward on the Ryder Cup who are the main people that'll be each and every year. This is the one guy. This is one of the guys that I think that can jump himself into that group that wasn't included this year, because a lot of people thought that he should have been included in this year's Ryder Cup team. And it didn't matter because they went out in 19-9, but this guy can really play. And then there's and like I said, I follow this game very, very close. And then Cameron Young, guy that finished second. Okay. So I clicked on him, his profile, and I knew he'd won last year on the Korn Ferry Tour, but I didn't know he'd won twice and finished second once before. He's 173rd in the world. So if people want to talk about up-and-comers and things, this guy's 24 years old, and I didn't know a lot about him, but, man, he can really play as well. This tour is becoming, as you said last week, younger and younger and younger, and these kids can flat-out play. It wasn't like back in the day when I caddied or when you and I grew up playing golf. The talent level is so much better than it was back then.
Oh, yeah. And like with Sam Burns, and you think, wow, he's probably won a handful of times, but his first, I guess, full year or on the PGA Tour was 2018, he only played 11 times. 19, he played a full schedule 26 times. 20, he played 19 times. Last year, he played 26 times, and he won in May. He won what did he win? The Valspar, and then he was second the next week in Dallas, or 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's absolutely he was 8th in the BMW. This guy is really good. Second in the World Golf Championship at the St. Jude in Memphis. So, but I think he really hasn't played that long, and it does maybe take a little bit of work. But I think this fall season is great in that you get to learn names of guys that, you asked me about this Young, and I have no idea who he is, but he's 170 something in the world. That's pretty damn good golf. This fall season is great in that you see these young guys. You had the Pepperdine kid, Sahith Thigala, who shot 71 today. Shot 71 today, but he was right there. It might take him a little while, but great player. But then you also see guys who haven't played well that maybe catch fire. Nick Watney hasn't played much good golf over the last 5-6 years, and he loses by a shot. This is probably it's full FedEx points, right? This one. So yeah. So he probably by virtue of second place has got his card for next season. And it's I think he played. Yeah, he did. I saw him at Napa. Don't know exactly how he played, but it's got him
fair.
In
Made
FedEx.
The cut.
He started at 29th, so he was 29th, and now he's 4th on the FedEx Cup. This is a great springboard for a guy like Nick Watney, who's a hell of a player. He's battled injuries. He kind of monkeyed with his swing a little bit, maybe because of the injuries. But I'm really happy to see that he played well, and 65 today to kind of charge up the board a little bit. That's a huge thing for him. And then there's guys, you talk about caddy changes. Wayno, who was with Troy, is now with Tyler Wayno Drano. He's with Tyler Duncan. Tyler missed the cut by a shot at Napa, but this week, very solid golf, 68, 68, 69, 66. I think he made 5 in a row coming in today and tied 14th. So now he's got himself a nice start to put yourself in a position to not have to worry about it in May or June. You really want to try to get this done. And Bernie, you said it, because these guys are so good, I don't think you want to be 200th on the FedEx Cup list when it's the beginning of June, because now it's panic. If you can get off to a good start, get some stuff done, it's a lot easier than, going to Reno and trying to keep, play well to keep your card. That's tough duty.
So Watney, as we've talked about on this program before, took his one-time top 50 all-time money winner exemption for this year. And like you said, he now probably has enough points, maybe not enough to completely get there, but if he has another top 10 or a couple of top 25s, you're right. But then you look at Sam Burns, and a lot of people don't understand when the season starts like this, when you win as early as Burns just did today, that gives you, let's just say that Burns didn't have any status or exemption status at all. When you win this early in the season, you then get the entire season of this year plus the following 2 years, and you are fully exempt on the PGA Tour. So basically, it's like 3 years. So if you won at the end of last year, you only get the next 2 years. This guy basically, if he didn't have exemption status, but he does, he gets 3 full years of knowing that he has a job, which is really, really big, because even if you played like shit for 3 years, you're still getting endorsement fees. You're still getting, this, that, all this. So you still have a job. So that is something that a lot of people don't realize, which is a big thing. Knowing, yeah, he just won, whatever. I don't know how much purse money this was, but he got the 500X, the FedEx Cup points, so he's already in the finals for sure. So it just frees a guy up to where a guy like this, a guy that's this young, can just go free roll it now for the rest of the year and see what happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're right. And you are right that like with Nick, it's not done. So I think you want to have 400 points, maybe 420 to be safe,
sure.
Right? It's usually 387 or something. But so Nick he got 245 today, along with the last week. He's at 270 points. That's a great start. 130 more points in, he's probably going to play another 20 to 24 times. And so it's really good to get off to a good start. And that's where, like with Troy tied 16th in Napa, went over and played in the Dunhill Links Championship. So he was playing in a European Tour event this weekend. But it's nice to know that he had the top 16 to kind of give him a start. And then hopefully, we go to Las Vegas this week and things go well, and you just kind of keep building. You just, that's the big thing that the fall, I think, does, Bernie. I think you identify these young kids that are playing out of this Korn Ferry status. And then there's a shuffle, right? Still with those guys.
Yes.
And so how does that work?
So I don't know exactly the exact dates that they do this, but the 50 players on the Korn Ferry Tour, with the exception of 1 and 2 who are fully exempt, get shuffled periodically throughout the year. I think it's either 3 or 4 times, to where if you're not making any money and at 4, 5, 6, 7, wherever your priority ranking is to start, and somebody at 48, 9, 50 or whatever is making money, you can get leapfrog, and you can drop all the way down to the bottom. So they reward players that play well early, and I shouldn't say money because it's all points or whatever it is now. They reward players on how they're playing, and they work their way up, because it all matters. Like when we come to Phoenix here in, whatever, it's October, November, when we come to Phoenix in 3 months, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, back in the day, 2, 3 guys get in. Now probably, 8 or 9 get in now off the Korn Ferry Tour list. So it's a big deal to reshuffle up to make your status better, which, it could matter as getting in 1, 2, maybe even 3 different events, because there's a lot of times where you're going to be sitting as the first alternate and not get in, where if you'd have played better the last few weeks, you're going to get in. And for those guys from the Korn Ferry Tour coming up to the PGA Tour, getting starts is a big deal. And, if you can get into the Waste Management Phoenix Open, that's a big deal, because it's a smaller field. So the stuff like that is really important. You talked about the Dunhill, and Troy played good. He had a rough third round, but he played well, and he finished, I think, top 25, 26 or whatever. What do you take away? I mean, I know you probably didn't talk to him much because it was, a 14-hour, 12-hour, time deal. But are you satisfied as the player's coach on how he played this week?
Yeah, no, I am, and it was windy. The first day was not windy. He played, so the Dunhill Links is like the AT&T Pebble Beach. So it's 3 courses. Then you're playing those 3 courses with one partner. He had Andy Garcia, the actor.
Oh, really?
And he was just paired with him. It wasn't that they don't know each other. He just was paired.
Well,
with
they do
him.
now.
They do now, and so he played St. Andrews the first day, and it was calm. And I think if you wanted to have a golf course to play when it was calm, it was probably Carnoustie. Carnoustie's a bitch. So he played well at St. Andrews. Said he actually played pretty well at Carnoustie. Shot 1 over on a day where 8 pros shot in the 80s. Didn't play well at Kingsbarn, and that was the 3rd round. And then today, he made a nice move. I think he shot 5 under again today at St. Andrews. And so as I look at it, top. I think he was 27th. That's a good finish in in a different environment, right? It's not, this isn't Boise, Idaho. This is somewhere else. And they still had some rules over there on the European tour where with COVID and stuff, he had to get tested. It was more go pick up stuff, go back to the room still. So it wasn't like he was able to walk around and take a look at stuff. It was very much just you're there to play golf. It was good. And what I liked about it is he played very well at St. Andrews. And in July, the Open Championship is at St. Andrews. So, at least he got a look at the golf course. And I'm not sure if he did that on purpose. I think he just had the opportunity to play these golf courses and wanted to. But it's nice to get a little bit of a look at the golf course. Hopefully, we're there in July. So yeah, I was happy with it. Hopefully, world ranking, maybe it helps a little bit, and then he's going to come back. Now here's one though for you, Bernie. So he switched. This is good. He switched caddies, right? So the new caddy was not aware that he was going to caddy for Troy. He had stuff going on this week, so he didn't go over. But he used to caddy for Dustin Johnson, so he knows all the caddies. He had him set up with a caddy over there, one of the European Tour caddies. So the guy said, fine. Troy gets over there on Monday. Somehow his normal player gets in, right? So now he does not have a caddy, right? Because the guy's going to go with his caddy.
I can see this. Yeah,
he gets an, we talk about caddy nicknames. He gets and they find another caddy like in 15, 20 minutes. His name is Punk. So Punk is going to take Troy's bag. Punk, and I don't know if he got a call. I don't know what happened, and it's true. His mother had a health issue. So that's not good. But I guess, so now Punk is no longer with Troy. He was hired for 15 minutes. So now there was a third caddy that I know of that carried his bag around the rotation at the Dunhill Links. So he said, I hired and fired, 3 guys in a matter of an hour. So, it happens.
Speaking of that, have you got your passport issues fixed yet?
No. I haven't, but I probably should. I haven't. Yeah, I've got a passport that probably has my picture on it when I was 12, so it probably is time to get it going. And my wife Amy even said today when I talked about St. Andrews, she said, well, you might want to get that passport figured out just in case this year. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's not like it used to be where you just like drove down to a place and got your picture taken, and then all of a sudden for $80. Yeah, it does. I remember when, back in the day when I had to when I caddied, and Billy Judah's like, "You're going to New Zealand and Australia." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Yeah, you are. You're going." So get your. I had to go down there and take this picture, and it had to do it the last. I mean, it took for it. It was a tight window. So I'm recommending you right now, since you have probably 8 or 9 months, I would recommend you doing it soon. In fact, very soon to get it done, or you're not going to be going over there. And because, if something like that happens to Troy again, as far as the caddy situation, I know you're always like on deck. You wouldn't be on deck because you'd be over here. So
no, and you're right. That's what should happen.
Yeah. So next week's field, I looked at the field, and by the way, you were wrong last week. Troy was still on the list of people that playing in Sanderson Farm. So he did sign up for it. He did withdraw on 2 or 3 days before, but he was on the list. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I was correct and you weren't. But next week in Vegas, this is by far the best field I've ever seen at that tournament. Koepka, Reed. I mean, there's like 10 of the top 25 in the world, and it goes back to your point earlier that you made last week, that getting points in the fall season is a big deal, because a lot of these guys, once the Tour Championship and the Ryder Cup ends, normally they say the hell with it and we'll see you in January. But now these guys have to go play in some of these events.
Yeah, they do have to, and then they're the PGA Tour also. I don't think they require, but they strongly recommend that you play in each tournament over a period of, I think, 3 or 4 years. And so, there might be some guys that are like, okay, well, I want to knock this one out. And on the schedule, it kind of makes sense where, like for Koepka, you play the Ryder Cup a couple weeks ago, you take the week off, and now you go play a couple, and then aren't they staying another week too, the top players?
Yeah.
Isn't there one?
Yes.
So that's the other thing. They have, I'm pulling up the schedule here. So we have the Shriners next week, and then the following week is what's called the CJ Cup, and that's at the Summit Club in Las Vegas. That's a tournament where all the top players are invited. It's a no-cut event, very small. Last year they played at
free money.
Yeah, it's free money. And then the following week is the Zozo Championship, and so the CJ is usually in Korea. Then
Sure.
So it does make sense. Now it goes Las Vegas, Japan. I'm guessing some of these guys, and I know some of these guys aren't going to the Zozo because Troy is actually playing in the Zozo, but he's not in the CJ Cup. So, his status is such that he was able to get in the Zozo and go to Japan, and that's nice. It's 78 players. But yeah, the CJ. So it kind of makes sense.
Free money.
Guys, why not? Yeah, free money, but come over, play a week at the Shriners, and then play the next week, and then maybe not go to Japan.
All right. It's time for the ever popular segment of Who You Got? Sponsored by our good friends at Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. And last week was one person picked a good player, and that was you, Dahlby. You had Will Zalatoris. So you got the 3 point. Schubert, are you awake? I mean, what's going on? There he is. So you had Zalatoris last week.
Picked a good player. Riding my coattails on picking Zalatoris 2 weeks ago. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's what it was. Absolutely.
Well, so Dahlby got the 3 points for last week. And next week, just so you know, behind me, I'm going to have a scoreboard. Yeah, I'm having a scoreboard made by
sign company,
another company that
okay.
It's a different sign company, but I'm going to have a scoreboard so everybody can tune in and I don't have to tell anybody. So Dahlby got the 3. Schubert and I both picked players that tied. So 1.5 points for each, as he had Gary Woodland and I had Adam Schenk last
That's very
week.
generous. Very generous the way you phrased that we had 2 players that tied. You are failing to tell everybody that we also had 2 players that didn't make the cut.
I did purposely leave that out. Yes.
Yeah, so we didn't make good picks this week.
Once Dahlby's guy got so far ahead, I gave up. But all right, we're at the this week in the Shriners in Vegas. Dahlby, with your incredible win last week on the 16th player that in the field, who do you have this week for who you got?
So I'm going to take a stab at one that's a very, historically a very good player, but has been struggling a little bit, didn't even get into the FedEx Cup this last year, and I don't know this is fact, but I'm thinking maybe if he was smart, he might be going to talk to Butch Harmon before this event. I'm going to pick Ricky Fowler.
Ricky Fowler. All right. Well, Shu, you're still second up since I got penalized last week for my picking of a guy that was in a field and then wasn't in the field. And so you're second up. He has Fowler. Who do you have?
So I have confirmed that this person's picture is on the website, on the PGAtour.com of in the field. So that's a great place to start, is that we're picking somebody whose picture is on the website. I'm going with a brand favorite. This is one of my guys. You guys know this. I love this player. I love watching him play. Give me Victor Hovland this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the top 25 in the world. Are you a wrestling fan? What is that? AEW Wrestling? What is that?
It's a wrestling company.
Do you work for them too?
No, I do not work for them. I'm just a fan of them, and I guarantee you that their crossover of people that listen to our podcast that know what that is are going to be very few, but we'll see.
All right. So I'm going to go with the guy that has the shortest name that's playing this week. I'm going with the Vegas resident, Kevin. Nah.
Oh, yeah.
That is my pick.
Okay.
He always plays
Kevin
well in this tournament.
Dahlby picked Kevin out a couple weeks ago in the Ryder Cup. Who you got, right?
No, he didn't play in the Ryder Cup. I thought he should have been on the Ryder Cup.
We did a who should be in Ryder Cup, and he picked Kevin Na.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Shu. Go back to watching.
Hey, Shu, hang on, Shu.
Yes.
So who are the names in the All Elite Wrestling thing? Because I only
Okay. All right.
Nice Google.
I kind of like the man. With the WWE. What's her name? With the red
Becky
hair.
Lynch. Yeah, this is fun.
Becky
This is
Lynch.
good. I'm enjoying this. This is good. Talking wrestling
I like
with
the
Dahlby. This is
man,
fun.
Becky Lynch. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me give you some names that are more old school that you might know. Chris Jericho is in All Elite Wrestling.
Yep.
Chris Jericho's in there.
Hulk Hogan.
No, Hulk Hogan's not in there. The Big Show goes by a different name now, but he's in there. Let's see. Who else?
So you just change your name whenever you want?
Okay, there's copyright issues. If you work in one company and they have a copyright on the name, you can't use that name in another company. You're going to get a lawsuit. So he changed his name. So he's not the Big Show anymore. His name's Paul White. Don't look at me. It's a legal matter, okay? Christian. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Christian. He's in there. CM Punk's another big name that used to be in WWE that's over there. I'm trying to think of some other big ones. Mark Henry. Let me think if there's any other big names.
Do you still think this stuff's real?
Listen, we're not going to have this conversation. It's not real, but it is fun. It is entertaining, okay?
Kind of like this show.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
All right, Shu. Thanks for
Bye.
thanks for enlightening us up on
Sure.
wrestling. Maybe we'll do a wrestling show one day, or maybe we won't.
I think it's
Dahlby, real
wrestling,
quick before we go. What is it called?
Wrestling. It's not wrestling. Wrestling.
What are you from Arkansas?
Wrestling. Yeah.
I know you're leaving here soon to go to Vegas, so we'll make it real quick. I today was interesting watching the end of the golf tournament because, and maybe I'm just I don't pay attention enough, but I think I do. I don't remember the last time somebody won a golf tournament that wasn't in the final group, and it was anticlimactic today because Burns he said he got nervous in 18. He had a 2-shot lead, hit the middle of the fairway, hit a terrible block cut into the right bunker, hit it about 15 feet, missed the putt to about 8 inches, and putted out before Danny McCarthy, his playing partner, putted, who was 9 or 10 feet. And I thought to myself, this is weird. Why wouldn't he mark it, have McCarthy putt, and then him putt out, and do the celebration? But it didn't matter because they were already 2 and 3 shots ahead of the guys behind us. So I don't remember the last time that somebody won a tournament from outside the final group. Do you?
Well, Homa was group. What was he? Homa was one group in front of McNeely.
There you go. Okay.
But I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But it is hard sometimes. You don't always get that winner in the last group. But I think you're right, Bernie. As we kind of look back, it has been probably more that it's come out of that last group more often than maybe. I always think sometimes it's you don't want to be. It's nice to chase sometimes and not be the one that's hunted. But on the other hand, it's always nice to tee off in that last group on Sunday as well. So hopefully. Some of these guys, maybe Troy this week has a chance to be some, late on Sunday. And that's what all of these guys are trying to do. And with the way these points are structured, where you're getting a lot of points if you're in that top 5, you just want to try to be relevant on the weekend. You want to make that cut, do something on Saturday, and then be relevant on Sunday. And you don't want to go backwards on Sunday. Those are the guys, that are kicking themselves because, I shot 73 on Sunday and the whole world went right by.
Hey, have a great week in Vegas. Say hi to my friends at the ARIA MGM Properties. Say hi to any other fellow teaching pro that you might know out there that maybe we've had on our show before. But have a great week and best of luck, and we'll talk to you next week, bud.
Sounds good. Hit them great, everybody.